So a week ago, NPR, for which I did an interview in their local studio a number of months ago, put up a segment nationally and on their website. The title of the segments that you can see on NPR's website, which is basically a transcript of that segment, is "Anarchist Explains How Hackers Could Cause Global Chaos." And then it goes into a description of my background and my plans and the pursuance system that I've been setting up since I got out of prison last year. I've done a number of interviews since getting out of prison, and there's been a number of articles about the pursuance system and about me since then as well, from Wired, the New York Observer, Vice, a few others. I've also written a manifesto explaining the pursuance system for Motherboard, which is Vice's tech blog. And there's documentaries being made as well that cover this a bit. No one has come away with the impression until now that what we're building is a framework that's intended for hackers or hacking. Every explanation that we provided, including on our website at pursuanceproject.org, to the press, in conferences and talks that we've given at Aaron Schwartz Day in San Francisco a few months ago, in Europe, the Republic conference there, has been pretty clear about what pursuance is. Primarily, it is it's a framework for mass collaboration. You can use it for crowdsourced research. You can use it for activism. You can use it for all the little civic things, the little extras that the Republic or any society needs done. Existing nonprofits can use them to harness the large numbers of people out there who would very much like to do important work but don't really have, don't want to go and jump through the red tape to do it. Nonprofits can use it to better collaborate amongst themselves, to share resources and information. And large numbers of people can use it very easily to create entities for different purposes and run those entities and grow them as they wish, et cetera, et cetera. It's for a lot of different things. Because I was involved with Anonymous to some extent back in the day, that idea of hacking kind of exists dormant sort of around me. I myself am not a hacker or a computer person or a programmer or anything of that sort. I've worked with hackers on occasion when they were breaking into the servers of governments and corporations that turned out to be committing crimes. Moral and legal crimes against their own populations and populations abroad. My role was always to look at the materials that were taken and write about them in The Guardian and Huffington Post and other outlets that I wrote for at the time, and explain them to the press and make sure that these things got the attention they deserved. On top of that, Project PM, which was my group that I ran back then, was chiefly involved in overseeing crowdsourced research into these materials, presenting them on a website so that journalists who want to know about surveillance and about online propaganda techniques that have been developed in the last 10 or 12 years, that they have a starting point, that this information is made best use of. That's always been my primary interest, is in figuring out how people can better collaborate to counter the corrupt institutions that always have an advantage over large groups of disparate principled people in that they are structured. We want to create things that are superior to structure. We want to create something that's more of a process than a system, something in which good ideas can come to the fore and in which these things can be acted upon. So, as I explained to NPR after their segment aired, I took issue with their descriptions of the Pursuance Project and of my plans. The article, both the segments and the article is still up there. They've corrected a number of incidental errors that I pointed out, but the headline about the anarchist plotting global chaos and the text about Pursuance System can be used to recruit hackers gives a misleading impression about what I'm doing and what we're doing. The Pursuance System is a nonprofit, a legal nonprofit set up in Texas. It has a board of directors. That board of directors includes a lawyer, Jay Lederman. It includes a member of parliament in Iceland, Brigitte Johnsdotter. It includes two professors from major universities, one retired, one still active, Bard College and Case Western, It includes Alex Winter, the actor and filmmaker. It includes John Kiriakou, the whistleblower, former CIA fellow who shed light on the America's torture program, went to prison for it. We have agreements in place, informal and formal, with different political parties in Europe and elsewhere, mostly the pirate parties, local pirate party groups. And I've also done a lot of outreach to nonprofits, things of that nature. And that's the focus. You'll notice that we have not placed many hackers or even programmers within our ranks. We do want coders, people who can program, make use of the internet to collate information and to get people to participate in their civics. But we've never said a word about this being intended for hackers. Now, as I explained to NPR, they were correct that the Pursuance System could be used to recruit hackers. But it's also true that Facebook and Twitter and IRC and any other medium can and has been also used to recruit hackers. That's not really up to us. We're creating the framework. We're inviting in the participants and sort of setting all of those procedural, borders. But we are not determining exactly what the participants do. But you can see from the recruiting outreach we've done, hacking is not our priority. Hacking is not really enough. It's not sufficient to the tasks that need to be performed in the U.S. and elsewhere if we're going to have a moral and reasonable system without undue, centralized, secret, coercive power. What we're trying to do requires a great deal of collaboration, coordination among people who otherwise, right now, don't necessarily have good options if they want to use their time, energy, and knowledge to, clean up the world around them. So I just normally I don't respond. I don't make a big deal out of errors or being misunderstood in the press. It happens quite a bit. Oftentimes, sometimes it's not even their fault. It's very difficult to understand these things sometimes. It's very difficult to go through that process where you have editors or producers and fact checkers who may or may not know what they're doing. It's especially true at larger outlets, which have the disadvantage of believing themselves to be kind of above factual errors and kind of just assume that because we are NPR, we are CNN, we probably got this right, because why wouldn't we? That's what happened here, but it happened in a way that does do some damage to the 1,600 people who have signed up to the Pursuance System and to our board of directors and all the people who have contributed in different ways to getting this off the ground, because they've been nationally portrayed as engaging in this very improbable criminal enterprise, in frankly they're not. And so, again, as I'm not upset at NPR or the people involved in producing this, but I did feel it was necessary on behalf of everyone involved in this to explain what the Pursuance System actually is, and to direct those who are interested to materials that they can take a look at to get a better sense of what it is. There's an article in Wire. There's an article in New York Observer. There's an article and there's a segment that Vice did for its TV show. Other things upcoming. There's our website, pursuanceproject.org. And there's a number of videos on YouTube of us giving talks about this, explaining in great detail what pursuance is and isn't, and why it's necessary. This book that I've just finished, that'll come out probably about 9 months for Farrar, Straus and Giroux, will also include some extra background and all that. The bottom line is that if you are interested in taking responsibility for the world around you and for engaging in civics in a way that's going to probably be more effective than anything that's available to you right now, with lessons that we've taken from the last 10 years of digital organizing, digital activism, and civil disobedience. If you are a coder, if you're an artist, a writer, a researcher, even if you don't have any formal status as those things, if you have some skill and some time and some effort, and if you ascribe to our general principles in opposition to the surveillance state, opposition to the police state, opposition to the drug war, then we invite you to go to pursuanceproject.org and sign up to be notified and be considered for inclusion in this network. Again, you can read all about the details on that site and elsewhere. So I feel that I've done my duty now. So just in conclusion, we are not plotting global chaos. I'm not planning on being involved in hacks in the future. The 1,600 participants are not part of a global chaos network like Hydra or anything of that sort. It's very, very above board, and that's been pretty clear to everyone else who has looked at it, including others in the press. So thank you. Thank you very much.